Sure, thanks. And thanks a lot for inviting. It's great to see you again, everyone. Like you said, Russell, at the start, unfortunately, I have to go very soon. So I'm going to speak first shortly. But that doesn't mean that it means that I would love to stay in touch with you. And I really encourage you to reach out afterwards. I will leave my contact details in the chat down there afterwards. Going right to the point, as Russell said, I'm in charge of the circular economy transition in the City of Prague. And that, of course, it's quite a complex challenge. And especially with the Corona crisis, Prague has been hit hard, extremely hard, when it comes to its own budget. We lost a lot of tourists, pretty much the whole sector. And that means that all these plans that we are working on, we are currently trying to shift our attention and focus towards external funding, because it might mean that we cannot fund it on our own ultimately. So that's why I was interested in this session, to share with you a little bit of what we're working on and what we're looking for when it comes to the Horizon 2020. Well, right now it's not going to be the 2020 anymore, but the new Horizon challenges. So we're looking at several key transitions in different sectors. It could be the construction and demolition, where we see that the biggest advantages in terms of the carbon footprint reduction and material savings. So if anyone is working with that topic, and if you're looking for partners from the municipal sector, Prague is up for it, and please don't hesitate to reach out. I would love to discuss this with you in a bigger depth. Maybe a bit of a disclaimer as well. We are looking to be part of the Horizon calls as a partner. We cannot lead the consortium, but we're happy to be part of it with whoever is looking for forming a consortium. So one of the topics that we're working on is construction and demolition. Second is, of course, fostering the circular economy business models. Prague can do that by combining, for example, with the circular procurement practices that we also would love to explore further and develop quite a in-depth program, which also would really benefit from international partners and some external funding. Another key sector that we're looking to transform is the food and agriculture. There I see a lot of challenges, and it would be great if, again, this is interesting to you, please reach out. And lastly, it's all about waste and municipal waste. And there we're doing a lot. We have a lot of plans when it comes to building a hard infrastructure, redesigning the way we collect waste, opening up reuse hubs, reuse center, innovating. So these are all the topics that I'm happy to share more information with you individually. I will just write my email and my LinkedIn to the chat. And if you have questions right now, I don't know, Russell, what is the moderation process, but I'm open for it for the next 1 or 2 minutes. And otherwise, I'll just hand over to Ron and the rest. And thank you so much for listening, and apologies for my early departure.
Thank you, Vojtech. I think any questions that come in, Fraser and I will field them, and if they don't go directly to your email, then we'll put them to you through email. We'll collect it from the chat if you have to run. But thank you for that. It's great to hear a city really talking about this subject in so much depth and coming on and saying, just come talk to us. We want to help. We want to help you. And we are a platform for you to enable some of your ideas. It's a really forward-thinking way of encouraging people to get involved with the city. It's almost like the bureaucracies aside. It's just come talk to us and we'll make it happen. That's the sort of idea that I get from what you're talking about, what I've seen from you over the last sort of few weeks.
Exactly. That's exactly the point, Russell. So you basically summed it up. So if you're interested, if you're looking for partners from the municipal sector, Prague is up for it. Please reach out, and I would love to hear from you.
Thanks, Vojtech.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Yes, thank you, Russell. Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me here today and this afternoon. Yeah, I go by the name of Jansen by ODS, but I work for Kloeckner Metals, ODS Netherlands and Kloeckner Metals Belgium. We're part of an international, multinational distribution of steel. So we know a lot of, about metals, but actually I'm responsible for the facade department in the Netherlands and in Belgium. And therefore, we have a lot of contacts with architects, with builders, facade builders, and everybody contributing to this industry. And lately also the circular economy became quite interesting for us. And therefore, we have formed already some partnerships. And the biggest partnership today, I'm pitching actually, we're partnering with a group of people and we're trying to scale up this business a little bit. So I've prepared a presentation for you, which I'll share at the moment. So I think you'll be able to see my presentation right now. And I call this cooperation is key. Why is that? Because we are only a part of the industry. We supply solutions in steel. You can do a lot with steel, but we cannot do everything with steel. So we need our partners with us to bring to the market an integral solution, which is very circular actually, because steel is interesting because of the reuse potential of the material. But then you also need to have a strategy where this reuse potential is actually visible. So we redesigned part of the system to be able to work in an integral way with a lot of partners. And who these partners are, I'll show some groups of partners later on. But without a cooperation, this will not work. So therefore, very easy, cooperation is the key. Go together and you go far. So this is the waste build we're actually pitching today. So yes, we can build with waste. This pavilion is in the Netherlands. It's just been finished and opened. And we made a facade out of waste, and all the other material is built with waste. How do we do that? We have actually 3 flavors of circularity. We build with waste, with overstock. So that was the project I started with. We harvested the facade material from Brussels. We participated in a very large project in Brussels, Gare Maritime it's called. A lot of CLT timber wood, but also a lot of steel profiles for facades. But obviously a project like that, you need a testing facade to test whether all is well. And so normally after the OK sign, this will be transformed into waste. And this time we spoke with the owner of the building. Let us try and find a new life for this test element. And we found it in Leiden. So in Leiden, there's the duurzaamste kilometer going on, the sustainable mile, the most sustainable mile of the Netherlands, they call it. And they built a pavilion and we supplied the harvested facade. So this is what we do with waste, and we need maybe some intelligent matchmaking to make it work. This is what we do. The most important part of our project, I think, will be the social housing. How can we deal with the enormous amounts of social housing we need to build? I just show you a picture here of a refurbished part of a street where we refurbished the facades with an extension of the bathroom. So don't tear down these buildings. If the problem is the bathroom, find a solution for the bathroom, and then you can go on for another 25 years. We can also find you new homes on a lot of different scales. What is a home? A home needs to be flexible. So we try to find flexible solutions that can be transformed, that can be upgraded, can be taken back. So it needs to be reversible, ranging up from 12 square meters to 70 square meters, depending on the family that's living there. If it's one person, 2 or 3, whatever, we can build circular homes with our consortium. The third flavor we serve is maybe an urban solution. This is made with new materials, very intelligent materials, also based on steel, but you can choose them from a website, which is going to be built. The core is steel. All the other partners are obviously, again, either bio-based or circular, but we can sell them to you. We'll take them back. We'll install them for you. And after using them, we'll put them on our harvest map. So this is the idea, to make it very visible. And as I said, the core is steel. It's like platform sharing. They are also using in the automotive industry. So you might have a Ford brand, but it can also be a Volkswagen, because they share a lot of knowledge and even solutions, and they build the car around it to your taste. So Industry 4.0, this is what we're aiming for, to have a very intelligent process and an industrial approach. Wherever we build our solutions, we need to have a digital twin. So we're working with digital twins, material passports, but we need to store them somewhere. So we need to store our data somewhere to be harvested when we need it. So look at the colors. I'm looking at yellow and orange. This is exactly what our element was made of, which is a coincidence, by the way. So if we harvest our own material, we're, as you can see, in a very large network. We go from Liechtenstein to Groningen and everything in between. This is the size where we operate. We have contacts in the whole of Europe, in the whole of the industry. So if we are going to use this data on this surface, we need very intelligent systems, not just the ordinary harvest map, but really the harvest map 4.0 also, and a matching reverse logistics system, which we don't have today, but we're working on. So where will all this be visible? We are aiming to build a co-maker technology R&D center, where all our solutions are on display, are being researched and developed, very visible, and we'd like to set it up so that everybody can visit. It should be open source, so everybody could participate. Either they are bio-based or circular, but the most important thing is they need to take up their responsibility, take back their material to be used again in future solutions. So this is the whole circle, as I've displayed before. We work with a lot of architects and design. We are in the building industry with a lot of partners. This is what we know. What we don't know very well is the maintenance part. So we have a few partners already who are doing maintenance, so you can extend your lifespan, which is interesting. And if you don't need it anymore, we need to harvest the material. So we are working with harvest people and companies, but we need to bring this onto the next level. Not just the ordinary harvest map, like I said, but the next harvest map with indicators like where did it come from, what can you make out of this, how much carbon you are reducing, and maybe are you also saving a few euros, because everybody thinks also circular industry is cheap, or you can build it for nothing, which is not the case. It's very expensive and labor intensive. But we're looking into more intelligent solutions. But today we need funding, obviously, to set up this technology center, but we need partnering in IT support, because this is very, very intelligent, and we lack this intelligence today. So we need IT support. We need data mining partners. We need data management. And if Christian is watching today, let's do this together. And obviously, we need also R&D support from education, universities, maybe new research. How is the market responding to this idea, and how can we scale this up? We have some capacity in know-how of steel. We have 50 years of experience. We have partners in prefabricated systems, but we can also learn from new partners. We can learn from the bio-based industry. So, and we'd like to make this into a prefabricated industry. So I'm stopping with the presentation, and I'm not sharing my screen anymore. And I'm inviting people from all parts of Europe and the industry to hook up with us and maybe share some ideas. So yeah, bring it on. I want to say. let's start.
Hi, so my name is Alice Haugh. I'm adding to the Dutch-British flavor today because I'm an English person but living in the Netherlands, working in Amsterdam for 3 years now. I'm strategic design lead at Space&Matter, as Russell mentioned, which is a 10-year-old architecture and strategic design studio. And the idea we'd like to pitch today is for the Area 4 core of H2020, the Energy and Resource Efficient Buildings. And it's called Neighborhood OS, Neighborhood Operating System. This is a kind of work in progress title, but it's a project that we've kind of been exploring together with Metabolic. And I think some of Metabolic's work was shown earlier, some of the resource flow diagrams that they often work with. So they're our kind of circularity partner here in the Netherlands, and also Serendipity, which is a digital transformation office also based here in the Netherlands. So we're a very Dutch consortium, and that's one of the reasons that we'd like to pitch and see if we can get some partners from other countries on board. So I'll explain a bit what we do and what we have in mind for this proposal. So our experience, basically Space&Matter and Metabolic together have been working on a number of circular neighborhoods in Amsterdam North. So this is a part of Amsterdam North called Circular Bouwslotterham, which is kind of the main living lab area for circularity in Amsterdam. Scone Skip is a series of floating neighborhoods, entirely self-sufficient, clean energy production, biofuel, and De Kovel is similarly a creative workspace, which was designed and built in a circular way on very polluted land. So phytoremediation and cleaning the soil over time is a big part of this project. And here you can kind of see what these two look like. And importantly for us, we worked with community groups in both of these projects. So Scone Skip is a residential community which co-owns the neighborhood, the shared infrastructure, and each of their homes. And De Kovel is a series of creative entrepreneurs in the sustainability field that wanted to develop workspace. So part of our idea towards H2020 is really kind of learning from these projects, but scaling them up using digital tools. So that's what I'm gonna share with you guys today. So this is the kind of the problem statement, let's say, of our proposal, the big building challenge, which I think I'm kind of preaching to the converted in this space. We all know that this the built environment is one of the most polluting and also most resource intensive industries in the world. But at the same time, we know that people are moving to cities. We need to build new housing and supporting infrastructure. So we're in this kind of catch-22. How do we transform this industry? And we're very lucky, of course, being based in the Netherlands, that these targets around circularity are very clearly stated and lots of action is being taken already towards that. So on a sort of policy level, we know in 2050 we're aiming to be circular, and Amsterdam itself has also gone further in endorsing the donut economy model of Cape Raworth. So we have this kind of policy framework set for us, and we kind of know what we need to do. And in place terms, you know, we're architects and urban designers. We also think that we know what makes a great neighborhood and places that people want to live. It's this kind of high quality, low carbon, low energy, beautiful, affordable, adaptable spaces, which contain and grow from resilient communities. But we kind of question ourselves, why aren't we building everything this way? We still have a construction industry which is incredibly slow to change, despite many innovations at the kind of product and module and energy system level. We don't seem to find a good way to bring them together and actually kind of shift. So what we believe is that actually our current model for development really doesn't produce circularity, because you have this separation of objectives, let's say, and sort of incentives between residents who will be living in the area, will be concerned with maintaining materials, buildings, public spaces, and the kind of investment development world, which is more incentivized towards a short-term linear model. So what we believe is that we need to find a new way to work together. And in terms of the H2020 objectives and the need to make this transition in a socially just and inclusive way, we really believe in a sort of bottom-up process and in bringing together community groups with municipalities and circular service providers into one ecosystem. And what we're excited about with this is the possibility to digitize in order to scale up. So we don't believe that digital tools should just be used for the sake of it, but we think that based on our experience of doing these individual neighborhoods in Amsterdam, we can use digital tools to actually scale up some of that knowledge, because a lot of that knowledge can now be codified using parametric algorithms. So we're interested to prototype a process using digital tools to develop circular neighborhoods. So this is what we want to do for H2020. We want to work with communities and municipalities, landowners, to actually develop a series of living labs which prototype a process of circular area development and find out which digital tools are needed for that process, and actually iteratively develop them as we start to develop the neighborhood. So back and forth between the kind of spatial development and the tech development. What we hope that this would lead to is a kind of open software for co-creating circular neighborhoods. So some kind of semantic model, which may be a digital twin, but also may be something else, which brings together a lot of digitized automated knowledge on circular neighborhoods, and actually can have digital tools feeding into it. So really supporting the process through tools. So what is this process that we've kind of prototyped in Amsterdam and that we'd like to explore in other contexts? I'll just go through a couple of the steps to kind of give a flavor. The first step is always this context analysis, and this is what Metabolic, our partners, are really good at, is this kind of resource flow analysis, what resources are already in the area and already being consumed, and how could we do better in the future? How can we project this kind of resource positive scenario? Secondly, and really importantly for the H2020 call, is aligning to policy outcomes. So how can we make sure that whether it's the donut model of Amsterdam or the kind of EU level objectives or the individual objectives of another city in another country, that we're really providing the inputs to achieve those outputs that any given city wants to achieve. So this is kind of setting indicators or KPIs which are going to help us achieve circularity. What we think is really important to scale up this approach is this ability to simulate resource positive scenarios. So we don't want all of the kind of design work to sit with us as architects. We want to be able to automate some of that knowledge. And there are already a number of kind of master plan simulation tools out there on the market, but what we think is that they don't produce circularity yet. So they don't have that ability to consider material flows on a sort of systemic level and understand the relationships between design decisions and material flows. So this is one tool that we would like to develop as part of the process. What's really important for us, and I think I mentioned at the beginning, is this kind of ownership or community involvement. So we'd like that these circular neighborhood designs are connected up to a supply chain, which includes local actors. So we don't want to impose kind of Dutch service providers on every city, but we want to create this open framework which invites local service providers, whether that's energy or recycling or maintenance, into this software. And then finally is this operation stage. This is a digital twin that we currently have running at Skip. It's monitoring energy production and consumption. And we hope that in the future, this step or this tool can also expand to more functionalities. So it's not only energy, but it's also water, and it's also waste. And why digitize? Just to reiterate as well, it's not sort of digital tools for the sake of it, but we really believe that this will enable the approach to scale. So our kind of ultimate idea is that if you get a number of these circular neighborhoods in development in a given city, then you get this kind of critical mass that can enable that city to shift to a more circular model, because you're able to close different material loops at different scales and also produce energy and other potential resources for the historic city, which of course is more difficult to transition to a circular model. So we'd like to eventually scale up. So this is why we find the H2020 call so exciting, is that it really means we can prototype and work across Europe with different countries. So ideally, we're looking for partners in a range of countries to do living labs. So this is our kind of long-term roadmap, let's say. We're currently in our research and development phase. That's what we've been doing this year. Next year, with any luck, we would be able to begin these series of living labs and really implement and learn in different contexts and with different communities. The following year, we hope we will be able to have some of these digital tools in development, and from there be able to scale up this approach in an open source way. For H2020 specifically, I mentioned we're interested in the 4.1 call. So this is about living lab development for energy positive neighborhoods. So we think it could be interesting or appropriate to do 3 to 5 pilot sites with pilot communities, and at the same time work on the technology development. So really iterating between the spatial and the technological component. So this is our consortium as it stands. Space&Matter, we are more on the spatial strategic design, urban design. Metabolic, as I mentioned, is really expert at circular material flows. The Foundation for Public Code is a public purpose software and policy foundation, also based in the Netherlands, led by Ben Servany. Lucid Minds are an agent-based modeling and simulation group, also Dutch-based, which would be able to develop some of those simulation tools. Crowd building is actually our Space&Matter's community development spin-off. So we help sort of Baugruppen style housing groups to go through the process of housing development, but we think that that process can help in this neighborhood scale. And Serendipity, as I mentioned, is the digital transformation expert. But what we're really looking for is circular construction partners and energy partners, as well as sites and communities for pilot living labs. So we have a few conversations going at the moment with different cities, but we're really open if there's any municipalities out there or kind of landowners who would be interested in developing new circular neighborhoods. So just to finish, this is my contact details. Please do send me an email. I can't stay on this call for too much longer. So yeah, I'm really happy to be contacted by email, and it would be great to hear if there's any other organizations that are interested to partner with us and also evolve this idea further. We're kind of in concept stage right now, I would say. So we're happy to also evolve the idea in a cooperative way. So thank you very much. I'll stop sharing now.